For this didactical lesson design, I've chosen to take a closer look at The Hate You Give, a book written by N.G. Thomas. First of all, I would like to say this is a brilliant book which is of great importance to better understand the news which you can see from the United States on a daily basis. I've also written down 10th grade at the top of this slide. I think it's more appropriate to use it in the 10th grade than the 8th grade where I'm a teacher right now, as they are a bit more mature. I've chosen two competence aims, as you can see they are written in Norwegian. Number 1. Lese, tolke og reflektere over engelskspråklig skjønnlitteratur, inkludert ungdomslitteratur. I've broken down this competence aim to be to read and listen to an excerpt, chapter 2, from the book The Hate You Give and related to the Black Lives Matter movement. The other competence aim I've chosen is uttrykke seg med flyt og sammenheng med et variert ordforråd, tilpasset formål, mottaker og situasjon. Her har jeg uthevet situasjon og tatt bort idiomatiske uttrykk. I've broken down this competence aim to be to participate in oral discussions based on the excerpt, know more about today's demonstrations, the Black Lives Matter movement, and why the protests among people are so widespread, especially in the United States. The main focus in the coming lessons will be on diversity, discrimination, and learning about different cultures. In addition to the competence aims, I would also like to include a core element. Elevene skal få et grunnlag for å se sin egen og andres identitet i en flerspråklig og flerkulturell sammenheng. This is relevant when you think of the main character, Star, and how she moves between two worlds. I'm going to discuss this a bit further in a couple of minutes. So how are we going to work with the excerpt? Before even starting to read the excerpt and introducing the book, we need to dig into the situation in the United States today. Maybe the pupils have seen on the news lately. Maybe they know something from before. Why are there, to this day, so many demonstrations and protests in the USA? It might also be natural to relate it to the demonstration that was in Oslo during the summer and in other parts of the world. By starting with this theme, I would like them to find out a bit more about the historical background of black and white people in the United States, the Black Lives Matter movement, the death of George Floyd, who was shot by a police officer, and today's demonstrations and protests. Criteria and questions. The teacher needs to clarify the purpose of the common lessons. He needs to be engaged and get the pupils to understand why we're learning about this. Why should they learn about the theme? How can they find information? Where can they find information? And why is it so important? You should make a document available with links to videos and questions to answer beforehand. The links and questions where you find the relevant information should be of different levels of difficulty. As we all know, there are some slow readers, there are some good readers, there are pupils that are not too fond of English in each classroom. In that way, all the pupils get the chance to dig into the theme on their own, of course with the support of the teacher. They should also consider if the sources are trustworthy. So how are we going to introduce The Hate You Give? First, I would like to show the trailer from the movie. It lasts for about 2 minutes and 25 seconds. After this, I would like to split the class into groups where they're going to discuss two vital questions. What do you think this movie is about? And what do you know about the Black Lives Matter movement? I waited to discuss this till now, as the students, they needed to find a bit of information and get a better knowledge before discussing this in class. After discussing these questions, the teacher should introduce the book which the movie is based on. By doing that, it's natural to include the main character or characters, the themes of the book, which is race, identity, diversity, discrimination, amongst others. The excerpt, chapter 2. At my school, we are subscribing to a resource bank from Cappelen Dam. On this website, they refer to an excerpt from chapter 2, which is also the chapter I have chosen. And why have I done so? Well, The chapter is short, gets straight to the point. We come along the trip with Khalil and Star, the meeting with the police officer, the shooting, and we get a sense of the desperation, the sadness, the tension of the situation. What now, after listening to this excerpt? Well, the pupils are going to work in groups, answering questions orally. What's happened in the text? Why do you think it's happened? What do you think will happen in the next few chapters of the book, or even at the end? It is often more comfortable discussing in groups first before doing so in full class. By discussing with your peers, you need to argue for your reasons and might help the pupils see the theme from different angles. However, at the end of these discussions, it's also natural to have a summary altogether. But how is this relatable to the youth, especially in a classroom here in Norway? I would like to further show a video which is called Black Parents Explain How to Deal with the Police. And as we live in a globalized world, in most cities and schools there are people from different countries. And this video also shows the real interaction Black people have experienced with the police and how they prepare the kids for the meeting with the police. It's an honest, tough video to watch. However, a video which might spark the curiosity of the injustice some Black people experience at a greater extent than white people, unfortunately. In addition to showing this video, you should relate it back to the excerpt which we have listened and read. And you can also show a quotation like this: "My parents haven't raised me to fear the police, just to be smart around them. Determine it's not smart to move while a cop has his back to you." Do the pupils see the relevance of the excerpt and the video? It's also important that you as a teacher say that not all officers are bad guys. It's also mentioned in the video. Identity and culture. After introducing the competence aims, I also listed a core element at the beginning of this presentation: how Star moves from one world to another during the average day, from Garden Heights where she lives to Williamson where she goes at school, and then back again. This might be relatable to different pupils who behave differently from one person to another, not being sure how to act at school or not feeling at home anywhere. The cultural diversity among people, in countries, neighborhoods, or even in the different homes may be recognizable. For the ones being intrigued by the story or theme, they should get the possibility to loan the book at a local library or at the school library. For students not being able to read it because of low literacy skills, there is the possibility of listening to the audiobook. There are plenty of possibilities online. Of course, it's natural to have a summary at the end of this period. What was the competence aims? Have I participated in oral discussions? Do I know more about today's demonstrations? Why are the protests going on around the world today, especially in the United States? Do I know this, and am I able to answer this, and have I reflected upon these competence aims? That are questions the students should be able to answer. Here are the sources I've used: both YouTube, Copeland Dam, the book The Hate You Give, and also Læreplan i engelsk. Thank you for listening.